Here we go.
Nice.
Let's see if we're live. I'm going to check the audio and stuff too. Make sure that it's all good.
Okay. Yeah, I see the on air.
Cool. All right. Perfect. We're live. Whoop, let out a little burp. What's up, everybody? This is the first live that we're doing, I think, ever on this channel. I think I did one live a long time ago, but it sucked, so I deleted it. And today I am accompanied with my buddy Logan. Logan, why don't you introduce yourself, give people a lowdown as to who you are and stuff.
What's up? I'm a regular dude trying to do CrossFit here and there, and then just moved to Long Island, New York. Still in the military, so just rolling with the punches of all these moves.
Hell yeah, dude. Yeah, so he's a military dude. We met at Pensacola Beach Brawl like 2 or 3 years ago. How long ago was that? 2 years ago?
Oh God, I keep thinking it's 2. I think it's 3 years ago now.
3 years ago?
Yeah.
How am I not a CrossFit Games athlete yet if it's been that long?
You didn't start at 15. Yeah.
Dang, you're right. Yeah. So we met then, and then we connected again at TFX. That was 2 years ago.
Yeah. That was 2 years ago.
Yeah, TFX was 2 years ago. We went to the Ocean Lab together, did some sauna and some cold therapy, and we've kind of kept in touch a little bit ever since, right?
Yeah.
Cool. So we're trying this live because I think that we should be going live at least twice a week on here, and it's a different way to do content. But today we are at our wits' end with this world, with the con world that we live in. Yeah. So what we should talk about the freaking the flag stuff right away, dude. Let's just get it out of the way. What do you think?
Okay. Yeah.
You think that's cool?
It's no pun intended, but it's just burning in my head. It's just like, it's crazy.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. Why don't you give me your thoughts as like a service member, like a military person, and the burning of the flag, and especially, well, you go ahead. Just go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I can't talk for the whole military, but definitely in my perspective, what I've seen, it's just sad. It's like, I don't know how to explain like what these. I hope they're regretful in what is happening and what they see later down the road, like lessons learned, because seeing someone burn something that is a sign of freedom, I really do believe that. That's why I joined.
Yeah.
It's like they also have the right to protest. People have the right to say what they want, and that's what's great about being here. But when you're saying that we shouldn't be a nation or we shouldn't do this, and you're just saying disrespect this and let's put up a different flag of a whole other entity and say this is their land, like it's pretty wild for the people that want to keep it free and defend it. So it's sad. I mean, most of the other military folk that I've talked to, like, we're all in the same boat. It's upsetting. And the people that come talk to us, since I'm a recruiter, I'm not the recruiter. I'm just in charge of recruiters here. When we have families and stuff come up to us and that's what they're talking about, it's like kind of weird to talk about it because they're so like prideful and stuff, but they think that we're somehow in charge of that, in charge of them doing this.
So what's the whole idea behind them burning the flag? What, like, because I've only seen the viral clips of what's happening, and to be honest with you, like, the reason why it pisses me off the most is, dude, you live in America, like, you should support it regardless of who's in power or whatever the power structures you think that be, like, you should still be supporting your country in whatever way possible. Number one. Number two, the other thing that really pisses me off is it always seems to be the people who like do this type of really whack shit, right? It always seems to be some freaking like just white suburban kids. Like there's no colored people in there at all. There's like 3 colored people in that video. So it's like it's always like these privileged white kids from the suburbs that do this whack shit, and I just don't understand it. It's like they have nothing else to complain about. They feel like they need to virtue signal somehow, get claps from whoever, and like mostly it's like these outcasts. I feel like, right? Like it's never but like people who actually are from Palestine and stuff. You don't really see that stuff happen. You know, at least from what I've seen. I don't know. Maybe the internet could show me different, but
Yeah, depending on my algorithm, what's being shown, yeah, it's kind of hard to tell sometimes.
yeah.
But I try to follow both sides as much as I can because you want to know what everybody's saying. And I mean, now there's so many different entities like what's that Telegram app? Holy cow!
I don't know what
Like
that is.
you
What's
see,
that?
it's like a app that you subscribe to, and it's like unfiltered stuff that wouldn't be on Twitter before, or wouldn't be on Instagram that you can see like everything happen on.
Okay.
It's pretty raw stuff, but yeah, no, it's like.
Is it kind of like what was that website when we were kids? Like the BME Pain Olympics or whatever. Do you remember that?
No.
Oh man,
I don't know what that is.
There was this website. It was messed up. My buddy's like, I've always been like too weak stomach to like watch this stuff, but there was this dude who like literally cut his ball out of his nutsack or something on this website, and I was like, it's like, dude, what the freak? But that's how the internet used to be, you know, like you just could do it,
Yeah,
get away with anything.
that was on I guess, how old are you?
I'm 31, dude.
Okay, so yeah, I'm 28, but what I remember was that's fuckedup.com, but it was like PH. That's what I would go to see like stuff that you weren't supposed to, like the guy got beat with a hammer one time or whatever it was.
Holy crap.
But in the woods, yeah, no, I was like, I can't let my mom see me do this. But
yeah.
But yeah, no, it is like, it's these kids that want to be like, they are so privileged, they don't understand how privileged they are.
Yeah.
And it's like, what are we doing?
Yeah, it's like they have this weird shit. Like I've heard the term white guilt a lot. Have you heard that?
I've heard of it, yeah.
Like guilty for being white and stuff. And
yeah.
I'm like, I don't know. Like I'm half Mexican, I'm half white, right? Or Italian and Irish or whatever. I've experienced real racism in life, right? Like, so I've actually like, I used to have a lot of police contact when I was a kid. My brothers all did, my dad, all this stuff, right? I don't need to go super deep into it to qualify, you know, whatever. But I've experienced like real deep racism, and never once have I ever like been like, you should feel bad for being white to my friends that didn't get into any trouble. You know? Because it's like at the end of the day, like you're still sovereign, right? Like you're still a sovereign person. You make decisions, and like more times than not, when I was actually doing shit, like I was the person that was like making the stuff happen. But anyway, yeah, dude, it's weird because these kids, they're so privileged, like you said, that they don't even realize how privileged they are. And then they just want to like do things to get claps from people that they've never actually even had contact with, or they've never had any sort of relationship with ever. It's like, I guarantee you a lot of those kids have zero ethnic friends. Zero. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's all because Netanyahu is at DC. That's why they're doing it right now. So
okay.
That's the prime minister or the president, or whatever they call it, for Israel. That's why they're going crazy at the moment, because they're trying to, at the end of the day, whatever you're doing, is that really getting to the point of what you're trying to protest for? No.
They're trying to show support and be like, we're here with you, bro. We're here with you, even though we live in America.
Yeah, what I never understood was when people would go to their county districts or whatever, and they were like, oh, if we sign this, there's going to be a ceasefire for our area for Palestine. And I never understood what like these little towns are trying to like sign something into a ceasefire. I'm like, yeah, what you did is cool, but it's not doing anything on the grand scale. So
what do you mean?
There was these videos going around and people in their town halls, and they're like, oh, Portland signed a ceasefire for Palestine and Israel. And people were like freaking out about how it's a great thing, but it meant nothing to an actual ceasefire that could have happened earlier. I mean, that's a rabbit hole too of what could have happened between Israel and Palestine, what they're prepared to do, and us saying yes or no and stuff. But yeah.
Wait, so I don't think I quite understand. So like DC, like let's just say it's from Seattle. So people from Seattle are gonna somehow cause a ceasefire?
I guess that's what they think is going to happen, but they're signing documentation that says there's going to be a ceasefire of some sort under their legislation. I don't know where it goes to. I'm not that smart in the political world, but I definitely know that I'm smart enough to know that it's not going to affect what Israel does or what Palestine does and Hamas, and they're not going to look at Portland, Oregon, and be like, "Oh yeah, those guys said it's good. We're good to go."
Huh. Are you pretty privy to all this stuff going on in the world? in terms of that?
When you say like that, what do you mean, like being told
Palestine
like
and Israel and all that?
sort of? I do my own kind of research and my own follow through of like what's going on. We don't like give briefs or anything like that. I'm not at that kind of level. Definitely when I was in Europe, we got stuff and we got information. But now that I'm back here, it's like, no, we don't. We just get told to do our jobs, and that's all we care about. Like, just do your job of whatever the army says to do. Like, we're here to recruit people.
Yeah.
That's our only job, is to recruit. I'm not getting any other information.
We were talking before about this, before we got on live, and we were talking about like state actors possibly. How much of this do you think that could be?
Oh, I mean, a lot, to be honest. Like, my personal opinion, I think a lot. I think there's a lot of organizations out there, like the Soros foundations and stuff, that are paying people, not directly, but like with all these subgroups right down the road, and somehow they're getting money to bust people in for protests and just stand there and act a fool. Like,
yeah,
there can't be that many people at one time getting bussed in for the same. They're all thinking the same thing. No, it's all over the place, and it's people that are agitators on purpose that are trying to do what they're being paid for.
Dude, so I've been in the conspiracy world for years, right? Like that's the easiest way that I can like explain it. But my what's it called? My aunt's sister a long time ago was the one who like told me about the Illuminati and like To Behold a Pale Horse or whatever the book is called, and she introduced me to Alex Jones, like the deep crazy shit, you know?
Yeah.
And I remember even back then, one thing that they talked about a lot was they used a different word for it, but it was basically like deep state actors, right? Like people that they would send out to agitate a situation, make like riots happen, or make like, you know, just for political decoys, basically, so that they can get like a certain outcome or whatever. And it's just so weird because even with the George Floyd stuff, right, with the like we were talking about before, like the bricks being put everywhere, it's just so interesting to me how throughout time conspiracy theorists have been called conspiracy theorists and everything. Like this stuff just sounds crazy or whatever, that like, you know, no one would put bricks on the side of the road for people to just have and throw out windows or whatever, right? But it's like, dude, I don't, never mind, I don't want to say that because that could probably get me in trouble, but it's so weird how the conspiracy theorists throughout time are just being proven right time and time and time again. Like the one big conspiracy that was out there from the right wing or the far right or whatever was that the Liberal Party was trying to get rid of Joe Biden, and that he was going to drop out and he wasn't going to end up running for office. And then lo and behold, look what actually happened. Joe Biden gets sick or whatever. He does, you know, whatever, and he drops out. I just think it's so weird and so interesting.
Yeah, and it's not stopped at the small organizations, but like at media too. You know what I mean? So it's like the media portraying whatever they want you to think. Like they're getting paid too by these big companies, like the Black Rocks and all that kind of stuff.
You ever see like those videos of all the what's it called? The telecasters? Is that what they're called? Or the people who host the interviews and all that, like all of them, and they like have the same script from like channel to channel.
The same thing over time. Yeah.
It's
100% true.
And I don't know, man, being like writing everybody off as conspiracy theory when things just like, I feel like at a certain point, people are just trying to be contrarian and not believe the conspiracy just for the sake of like not being an idiot.
Yeah.
And then when everything comes out, you know, to be true, they're just like, oh yeah, well, like they have every other excuse that they can grab for in the world.
Yeah, and what blows my mind too is all these people that are out there right now, like they can't all be work from home, you know, like where are they working? Where are they? Like, people should be doing other things. Like I'm worried about getting Wi-Fi in my house right now and like making sure I have food. Like what are you doing outside of DC for hours upon end? Like getting put in here from who knows where.
Well, part of me wants to agree with you for sure, but then the other part of me wants to say that like so many like people nowadays are just lazy as hell, bro. Like honestly, you know what I mean? Like it's just I I don't even know exactly how to say it, but it's like it almost doesn't surprise me that there would be a bunch of like Gen Z kids out there doing this dumb shit, and then a couple of what's our generation called again? The wow. Millennial. And there'd be like a couple of millennials out there also doing this dumb shit, because it just seems like so many people are so freaking lazy, bro, that yeah, of course they have time to go and burn a flag because they're like broke and they have nothing else to do and they have no one that they fit in with. They can't even hold a job down, or maybe they can't hold a job down, but they are expecting too much of the job. Like they want to be overpaid for the skills that they don't have. And it's always those same freaking people, bro. So like part of me is kind of like, they could be paid state actors, but also I think that a lot of people are just really low IQ and fall into these traps.
Yeah. No, I would agree with that too. It's just, yeah, these, again, privileged. They're so privileged they don't understand, and they just go off on these tangents of, I can do this. I can take time out of my day to go protest something. I have no idea. The interview, did you see the interview? That one girl, they were like, oh, why are you here at this protest? For like it was pro-Palestine, and she was like, "Oh, I don't know. My friend told me to come."
Yeah, I did.
Like, do you know what you're protesting for? And she's like, "No." And then she asked her friend, and she's like, "Oh yeah, I don't know either." I was like, "Oh my god,
that's scary, dude."
It's very scary. Yeah, no, because I mean, you want it to be a First Amendment thing where you can go out and you can protest.
Yeah,
but you're also supposed to like kind of know what you're protesting for, and like whatever is being written in the law that you want to protest, or whatever is being said on the floor, like you want to be able to know what it's really about. And who knows, they name a bill, or they name a law that they're going to go in, and they make sure the name sounds right, like the Patriot Act, right? During the Obama administration, they said Patriot Act, so everybody's like, oh wow, that should be really good for us. And then come to find out, everybody's just spying on your stuff.
Yeah, for sure. Well, you know, one of the reasons too why, at least this thought just came to me right now, that I think that it is so dangerous that these kids just have this group think, and then they go to riots and they go to like the protests. Let's call them protests, just so people on YouTube don't go, they're peaceful protests, you know, they're not riots or whatever. Part of the reason why it's scary is because when kids have groupthink, and like anybody has groupthink, and they just like show up to things that they don't know are, you know, what the issue is, or they don't know what they're protesting about or whatever, the media can take that and just show the clip of like 1,000 people there. There's no context of whether or not people actually know what they're there for, or if they actually have any education or whatever. They're just like, this is important because 1,000 people are here, so you better think that it's important.
Yeah. And a lot of that for the kids goes back to their parents, right? How they were raised. Yeah. What education they got from their parents, the discipline of just being in a household. Like, who knows? I mean, what is the marriage rate to, like, everybody always says 50%. I don't know what it's at, but I'm sure not having one person in the house, you know, you get away with a lot more than having a mom and dad that are, you know, on your crap about everything. Yeah. So it goes back to the household too, and the public school system or private school system, whatever it was. So,
dude, if I caught my son Caden there at like 18, 19 years old, and I'm paying for his college, you know, if I'm one of the parents that's paying for the college or whatever, I'm spanking his ass at 18 when he comes home, dude. I was telling him, you're gonna bend over my knee, you're gonna pull those drawers down. I'm taking the belt and I'm whooping you, boy.
Yeah, I wonder how many of those kids went back to their parents' house after the protest. They're like, "Hey, mom, I'm back.
None.
Is dinner ready yet?"
Yeah, right. Yeah, or living in their parents' basement. Yeah. So I'm gonna go hit the video games now, Dad. I'm gonna go hit the video games.
Yeah, I got NCAA 25 to play tonight.
Right, dude, that's so cracking right now. That game.
It's I'm living vicariously through watching other people get really upset playing it because I don't have a TV. It got broke on the move. No, the Army broke it on the move. They have terrible movers. It's pretty bad.
Do you have like, you get free movers?
Yeah.
Shut up.
They pay for your whole move. It's pretty nice, and then they pay you like for driving to the next location. So we had them pack our whole house up, and they snapped my giant TV in half, and then they broke our couch. So
did they pay for it?
So they're like, "Oh, here's some money." Yeah. But it takes some time. They're like, here's some money. We'll send a check in the mail for half the TV's worth or whatever it is.
Half?
So
yeah. What?
Yeah, it was. We got kind of ripped on it, but at this point, I just kind of want my money. Mm-hmm. So it's like I want to just move on and get a new TV. But we've been without a TV for 2 months now, and honestly, it's probably the greatest thing that's happened to us.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I've been watching everybody play that video game. I'm like, oh man, I need to do something.
Do you play video games?
Yeah, but if I play, I'm addicted to it, so I can't. Like, I played all the Guitar Heroes and stuff growing up, and Call of Duties and whatnot, and FIFAs. That like college was a blur because of that, and Fortnite because that's when that like came out and started ripping.
Yeah.
But yeah, if I start playing, I won't stop. So Dynasty mode would be my friend. I gotta not as long as I don't play, I'm good.
Nice. Yeah, I'm not a video gamer whatsoever, dude. I've never really had the attention span to get good at any video game. I as like a kid, also I think there's a lot to be said about that now, right? But as like a kid, I would be able to play video games like if my friends were present, like if they were in the room, I could play a video game with them or something. But I was never.
Yeah.
Dude, I would maybe be like even as an adult, I tried to play video games as like a way to decompress and stuff, right? And to just pass time by or something. But I could never ever get into it. Never. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I can get pretty addicted. The Switches, my brother has a Switch, and he was like, yo, you got to get one so we can play.
Yeah.
I played it for like, he handed it to me, and I was on it for like 30 minutes. I was like, this is not good.
Really?
Like, I need to, like, if we're on the train or whatever in New York City, I need to do something. Like, I'd rather listen to a podcast because I don't want to sit there with my neck down, staring at a video game board the whole time. You got to have your head on a swivel in the subway.
Hell yeah.
So,
out there? Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, yeah. I was getting yelled at the other day.
For what?
Like, just me and my wife went to Brooklyn for an Italian festival, which was amazing.
Cool. And
we were just in the subway, and I'm standing there holding onto the pole and let my wife sit down, you know, and this guy's yelling at me. Yeah. This older guy, and he's probably in his like late 30s or whatever. And he's yelling at me because I was standing in front of him because the train was packed. So there wasn't much space to stand. And he's yelling at me, calling me pussy and stuff. And like, get out of my face, whatever. And it was funny because I was wearing, what was his name? Taylor Self. Mm-hmm. I was wearing one of his hats that I got from a competition. I did the Charlotte Classic last year. Yeah. And his thing before, he changed the name of his programming called Self-Made Training.
Okay.
But I had sunglasses on that covered the training. So it just said self-made. And this guy was like making fun of me. He's like, you're not self-made, da-da-da-da-da. And my wife like stood up and she just stood next to me and she's like, what are you talking about? And this guy just started blabbering, got up, and then he walked away. And I'm like, that's all they do. They just want to talk.
Yeah. It's so funny, dude. Like, I feel it, man. We get into this too. I think this kind of goes into the clown world thing. There's all these like self-proclaimed tough guys, you know, and they're always like the loudest in the room. The guys who are like just not with it at all. Like they're not with the shits at all. And they're the loudest in the room. And that's every single time that's what happens. Like they'll start talking shit and like, you're a fit dude. I don't know if you have any combat training. You probably do because of the military or whatever. But it's interesting because all the people that I know that train martial arts, they're never that guy. Ever.
No, they're the calmest people. They're the calmest people in the room.
Because they know they can know that they can kill somebody. Like instantly. Like they're not gonna even like they're not even gonna entertain the thought or the action, you know?
Yeah.
Did your wife was she like a little bit upset that you didn't yell back at the guy?
Oh, 100%. I mean, she was ready to pop.
She was?
She was ready to go after this guy, and I was just like, there's no reason to even look. Like, I looked up at him, and then I was like, nah, it's not even worth it. He's just blabbering because he's probably just on crack or something, so I'm not even going to deal with it. And she's like, you're not going to say anything? I was like, no. Like, why would I? If he got in my face or spit on me or something like that, it's different. But there's no reason to give him the time of day because it's just energy. Like you have so much energy throughout the day. I'm not wasting it. We're going to an Italian festival. I need the energy to eat those giant meatballs.
You want to be
all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, for sure. And you want to be happy too when you're there. You don't want to have just like beat the shit out of somebody.
Yeah, exactly. That's something I learned at I was in school in Virginia for 6 months, and I was like, I need to do something besides CrossFit to kind of keep me going. Yeah. And I was rolling jiu-jitsu for, I think I did it for like 3 months or so. And I traveled up to Richmond and I went there, and those were some of the coolest guys I ever met. And I did the gi stuff. And they were like, I mean, I didn't even want to, like, even like you were big and broad and you were just like ready to fight afterwards. Like you're so tired. You don't even want to do anything. Like you're just like, there's no point. And all the instructors were super chill guys.
Yeah, why is it jujitsu guys that are like the chillest dudes? They're like always like smoking weed or something. They're just like,
Yeah.
they're just chill. And then it's like, I've known like quite a bit of MMA fighters, and like although they're chill, there's also something about somebody like who does kickboxing that's just like ready. You know what I mean? Like they like almost want it,
Yeah.
Even
Yeah,
like,
kickboxing is so different.
It's so different. Like even me sometimes, like I'm kind of like, oh, just like, if somebody just pulled up behind me right now, like it just backspin, spinning fist or something. But like, but at the same time, like you don't actually want to fight. Like there's just so much to lose at a certain age too, that like a fight just doesn't do anything for you. What, you don't do jiu-jitsu anymore?
No, not anymore. I've been so focused on work and training CrossFit. It's been like I wish I could give more time to going back to jiu-jitsu, because I would do no-gi if I had the chance to go back. But it's definitely something I'm gonna do in a few years for sure. I loved it. The training, it was remarkable. I mean, you're talking about guys like Israel Adesanya, right? He was a kickboxer.
Yeah,
he's an MMA fighter. He was a kickboxer before, and his whole aura is like being ready, and he's always like jumpy and poppy. And you have guys like George St. Pierre, who's just calm.
Yeah.
It's just so different. Yeah.
It is so different. The energy is different, right? Because like jiu-jitsu, you have to be patient. Kickboxing, it's like patience, but you're waiting for the exchange. Yeah. And like in jiu-jitsu, when you're in the exchange, there's still like a world of patience that you have, to be able to like escape or pass guard or something.
I mean, 5 minutes of rolling is like half your life. It feels like forever.
Oh my God, dude. I know.
It feels like forever.
Funny story. The first time so I used to go to an MMA gym a long time ago called Waukesha MMA. They ended up closing down. But the first time that I ever did the jiu-jitsu class was, probably over 10 years ago now. But we signed up, we did kickboxing, jiu-jitsu, me and my buddy at the time. And the first time that they ever had me do jits, they paired me up with a girl to roll with. And I was like, okay, like really?
Yeah.
Yeah. And dude, this girl laid me out, choked me out in a matter of 30 seconds, bro. And that was like the longest fight of my life.
Yeah. You just became super humble after. You're like, yeah.
Oh yeah. 100%. Like,
you're like, yeah.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. Like when you go through that experience, right? I also think that this is the reason why a lot of like martial arts practitioners are really humble and chill too, is because you get humbled like by people who are far smaller than you, or like people that don't look the same way as you. You know what I mean? Like we're both fit, and a dude who doesn't look like us is going to humble the shit out of us. So what that means is like, and this is a problem that I have with a lot of like people, out in the world, and like all these kids that just like are entitled and all this stuff, is like, you literally never know who you're talking to. You have zero.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like it could be that this bodybuilder guy or whatever is just like this hard ass dude, and he's starting fights with everybody, and he's like talking shit to a 135-pound kid that would whoop his ass. You know what I mean? Like they just never know. I have a story of that too, actually, where in college I went to this party, and I had been like, I think 2 years into kickboxing or so, but I was training, I was a competitive powerlifter at the time, right? And in this party, this kid who I knew of, right? I knew of this kid, but he was like an actual fighter. He was trying to go pro. And he trained at Rufus Sport. He trained at all the local like MMA gyms from like Milwaukee to Pewaukee or Waukesha, whatever. Just a big radius. He trained at all the gyms. And he was like $50 to whoever can beat me up, basically, right? And so everybody that I was with was like, you do it. You do strongman, you do powerlifting, like you're going to overpower this dude or whatever. I was like, I looked at everybody, I go, hell no. And they're like, he's only 140 pounds. I think he was 140, 145 pounds. I was like, hell no, dude. And they're like, why? You're bigger than him. I'm like, dude, he's going to piece me up. He will piece me up right now. Like he's actually trained, whatever, And so, yeah, it's just like the layman, right? The people that don't know, and like, especially the kids that are entitled and whatever, like they just have no idea ever who they're talking to or the danger that might actually be facing them.
Yeah, unless it's like they think it looks like some Instagram fitness guy, they're like, oh, yeah, they're probably so strong.
Yeah.
Like if you don't look huge, walking down the street, no one cares.
Yeah.
They don't think you're a threat.
Yeah.
Yeah, it blows my mind.
It's crazy. It's wild. Yeah, dude. You said that you wanted to talk a little bit about discipline. And that's a big
Yeah.
thing that I'm very into, discipline. And I find myself getting so freaking mad and pissed, like talking to people or having the discussion. What's on your mind? Tell me something.
It's definitely, I don't know. It's something I've seen from even inside the military. Like there's different levels to it for discipline. Um, you can write your own story easily. Like there's people think that you have to be fit, like super fit to be in the military, or people think you have to be super smart and you know exactly what's going on, but that's not the case. You're signing up for a job and you're just doing your job at that point for the most part. But if you're not going to the gym, if you're not educating yourself, like that's all part of your inner discipline that you're doing on the daily. Like a lot of the kids that I was in charge of, they wouldn't be reading books. They wouldn't be. So we'd sit down. We'd have like almost like a, not like a what do you call it, like a
Book club.
Book club. Yeah, no, we'd more so sit down as a group and talk about topics of a book I was reading and how they felt about it to get them going. And they wouldn't see it that way. I'd hand out books to some of them, like the Jocko books or whatever it was, or whatever I thought they would like because it was military-esque because didn't want to read anything different.
What Jocko books? Have you like the kids' books?
No, what I've heard they're pretty good though. The field manual that he has, and then the Dichotomy of Leadership, which is a pretty good book too. But we talk about what their version of leadership is at different levels that they're in charge of, and then how it works for my job and people above me, and it made really good conversation. But a daily discipline, like it grows all the time, but I think it's mainly from how I was raised that's got me where I'm at. Like my parents putting me in sports, putting me in a private school, et cetera, that's helped build my discipline. But at some point I have to be able to do it by myself.
Yeah.
And it changes, like from going to a run club on Sundays. I hate running. Like, I hate running long distance, but I was like, I need to do something different, or I need to help myself and get past like this mental gap. And I'm like, okay, I'll just join a club and I'll be forced to run, forced to get better in this thing, and I'll want to do it. So I don't think a lot of people have that kind of push to want to get out of their comfort zone, which is, I think, what mostly discipline is getting out of your comfort zone on a daily basis.
Yeah. What do you think about your upbringing like made you that way, disciplined or disciplined?
Well, definitely my parents being super strict. I grew up with 3 other brothers, so I mean, my parents would beat the crap out of us. So they were super hands-on, Italian, very hard Italian Irish family.
What?
And
Your parents put hands on you?
Yeah, for sure. Like even my grandmother, there was no spoon that was safe from my grandmother.
Yeah, for sure. Do you think that's wrong?
No, I mean, not in the context of beating for no reason. That's the difference. Like no lesson learned out of it. My parents wouldn't beat me for doing something good or for whatever. They would beat me because I didn't listen for a certain reason. Like I didn't take the recycling out one time. I told my mom no because I thought I was being cool.
Yeah.
And she backhanded me with her ring finger and chipped my tooth.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. And she's like, what'd you expect? And then afterwards we talked about it a little bit, but it's stuff that I had to realize later, like, oh wait, I was the one who messed up. I should probably just do that because she said it, and she's also my parent. She's paying for all this stuff, all my schooling, whatever. But you're so naive, you just don't know. But unless you have the parent that tells you, like, hey, this is why I did it. Like I think that's lost sometimes. People just do it, they get angry, and then they walk away.
Yeah, for sure. I remember one time when I was a kid, I told my mom one time, F you, right? One time. And that was the last time that I did it. That was the last time that I swore at my mom like that. Because she slapped the dog shit out of me. And I learned my lesson, dude. And I'm also not, I'm not messed up from it. Like I realized like there's a real world. You do some shit, you get consequences for it. Obviously I'm the same way. Like there's definitely a way that you can take it too far, right? Like you shouldn't be giving kids like black eyes or something like that. But I'm of the same, like I don't hit my kids. I don't do that type of discipline because I don't need to. You know what I mean? But who's to say like when Caden, but Caden and I, my son and I, we get off on each other. You know what I mean? Because we do kickboxing together. So like we'll come home and like I let him punch me. I let him know what it's like to hit somebody, you know, but I'm hitting him back too. And he's 6, you know, and I'm not like really hitting him, but I'm giving him some jabs to the forehead or to the stomach and stuff and just, you know, letting it rip. But I think that's really important, dude. When I was younger, I didn't grow up with a lot of discipline. You know, I was a bad kid. Like I did whatever I wanted, whenever I wanted. And I suffered a lot of consequences for that, you know, as I became an adult. And I feel like I was pretty far behind in a lot of stuff. Like when I was 18, 21, things like that I didn't really get to experience or catch up on until later on in life. I think the way that, I personally think that discipline in that way from parents is super important.
Yeah. And the whole family, like even if you have just one mom or dad or whatever it is, like it's hard not to get the full aspect of discipline when you don't have two parents in the house. Like,
do you have both parents in the house?
Nuclear family. I did growing up.
You did?
Once my youngest brother left for college, my parents split up, and they said they were waiting for us to leave the house for that to happen because they knew how important it was for them to both be there. So that's what kept them to stay, which was wild to think later. Yeah, which is crazy to think, but they were like, yeah, no, we knew we wanted to split, but we didn't want to split while you guys were still in the house. And I was like, well,
for the kids.
Yeah, for sure.
That's so important, bro, too. Like, I got to touch on that because I like, dude, there's so many parents, so many relationships just like give up and break up. The nuclear family is like bar none the most important thing in a kid's life, for sure. There's so many statistics around it, like single house motherhood or single moms, single moms, right? Whether it's a product of single moms or not, single moms have the most percentage of like criminal kids. Single moms do. I mean, think about that, right? They're the people who raise the most criminal kids or the most like bad kids. And it's because I don't think it's just a fact of like the mom, right? But it's a fact like they don't have the masculine, the father figure in the household to like be the disciplinary, right? Especially if it's like a dude. And I'm talking specifically like single moms with sons, not single moms with daughters. I don't really know about that, but I've done a lot of reading and stuff the other way. And it's like, yeah, because eventually the kid becomes 14. The mom can't do anything to that kid. You know what I mean? The only person that could do something to that kid is the dad. And so a single mom household is really dangerous for kids. And I think it's probably dangerous in a different way with like dads too, but you're totally right, dude. The nuclear family is the end all be all. Like it has to be that way. And so many people give up that nuclear family, like give up the what's it called? The benefit of the kid, right? Like they don't give the kid the life that they deserve because they just want this instant gratification. Going into discipline too, it's like, well, you're not fulfilling everything that I want, and the media says that I should, be a boss babe, and the guys are like, and I want to sleep with 700 women, so you're not doing, you're not doing what you're supposed to do, so let's just split up. You know what I mean? And it's like, what about the kid? Like you guys were in a agreement, and the kid needs both of you guys, so now you're just gonna split up. But then there's also something to be said that like, because I don't think that most people have it together enough. Like probably your parents did have it together enough, but to not argue in front of kids and to not cause problems in front of kids. Was that something that you experienced like later on or no?
Yeah, no, I mean, my dad, when he would walk into the house, we knew like shit was done. Like you weren't fighting anymore. It was over.
You're chopping up, dude.
Keeps everything safe.
It's chopping up.
All right. Am I good?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no, like, I don't know. Having my dad around was huge because I couldn't imagine my mom trying to raise us. Like now when we go hang out with my mom, it's like, she's definitely what me and my wife were talking about, the feminine divine. Like that's what she has, right? And that's what she's gonna push. But we wouldn't have lasted in a house like that because it's like we just want to get away from that. Like we can't be with that at full times. Like my dad has to be in the house to tell us, what we did was wrong, or we have to have that feeling that a superior male is in the house.
Yeah,
like that kept us in line for sure. My wife and I have talked about it a bunch, but when we have kids, like we really do think someone should be home and then someone should be working, either one of us. Like there has to be that difference of, okay, there's so much to do at home. Like we're trying to do laundry for the two of us right now. And sometimes we're both not home because we're at work or whatever it is. She's at the gym. And we're like, how could we do this with a kid home? Like one of us has to be home at this point, or even homeschooling at that point. Like, I don't know if I trust the public schools enough right now. No.
I'm trying to get my kids the F out of public school, dude. Yes.
So do you have to get like certified, right, with the state to do homeschooling?
I don't know yet. We haven't taken that step yet because we need to make Heather a single mom, or not a single mom. We need to make her a stay-at-home mom. Stay-at-home mom. Yeah, that's like the main goal right now, is to make her a stay-at-home mom. So, yeah, dude, I'm right there with you with that. I think that somebody needs to be home. Somebody needs to be like parenting the kids at all times. Thing. Like there needs to be a service done for the kids. And if you can't do the homeschooling thing, for sure, at least attention needs to be there, right? Like somebody needs to be there, because nowadays it's basically like the state is raising your kid, you know, whether that be the public school system or even like like Christian schools have become way too lackadaisical too. Like private schools like that, they're like starting to talk about all the trans shit and like sex and whatever. And it's like, whoa, that's the whole reason that we pay for this tuition, is so that we're not talking about all that weird shit, you know, and like not like just letting kids be kids type thing. You know what I mean? But yeah.
I've seen it go a little crazier. So I went to a private Catholic school from like, even in kindergarten, it was a private Catholic school, but like obviously it's not as intense. But like first grade to eighth grade, and then all of high school was in the same kind of Catholic school diocese. So we were in uniforms every day. We had to have a haircut, no facial hair. And now I go to the same school. I'm looking at it. And I'm like, yo, they would have told me to get a haircut weeks ago. And these kids, they have crazy hair. They're wearing their uniform differently. We had to have those Sperry boat shoes. You did. And it had to be of like, it had to be of one of like 3 different types of colors, and that was it. That's all you could have, and no socks with like Nike swooshes or whatever. Now people are walking with like Dunks on and whatever it is, and I'm just like, it's slowly. I think the nuns, since they started dying off, we had nuns in the high school. When they started leaving, and new people started coming in, it was just kind of like slowly moving to a different direction.
Yeah, I actually went to a Catholic school too, 1st through 8th grade. So I was in Catholic school 1st through 8th grade. I had the option to leave Catholic school at like, I think for my 8th grade year, and I was just like, no, I'm just gonna, go with it since I've been here for so long. But yeah, we had the same thing. We had uniforms. We had to have like our I think as guys, like our hair just couldn't be like a certain length. It's not that we had to have the same haircut, but it couldn't be too long.
Yeah.
And the one thing that we were allowed to do was wear whatever shoes we wanted. That was one thing. But I remember the girls, like they couldn't have cleavage. They had to have like skirts that were a certain, length, all that stuff. Yeah.
And now it's kind of like, it's going on. It's a good thing, I guess. It's good because there's different rules to adjust to different people with different types of hairstyles, with different types of whatever. But it's also like you start relaxing the rules, and that falls into other things, how you relax in the classroom, how you're like disciplined with the kids. That's the biggest thing that came from Catholic school, was like discipline in the classroom. Yeah. Like we said our Pledge of Allegiance every morning, did our prayer over the TV, went to mass every like other Thursday in school. I don't know if they still do it, but like it was things that we did every single day.
How do you practice discipline in your life right now? What does that look like?
It's, I think one of the there's small goals that I have with discipline, and you have to work your way up. But like one of the small ones is getting up when the alarm goes off, like just getting straight up, like not snoozing. Like that is a small win for the day.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. And then I guess it would be, and my wife would kill me for this, but it's definitely just listening to what she's been telling me. And it's like, okay, if the trash needs to go out now, just do it now. Or like bring your lunchbox in when you get home. Don't leave it in the car, because you're probably not going to prep for lunch, and you're going to have to go buy something if you don't bring it in as soon as you come home. And I'd be lazy where I'd come in, and then later that night I would go grab the lunchbox and then prep, and it'd be like 9:30 and she's already in bed. And I'm like, oh yeah, no, I got to do this now. But it's just doing things at the right time Like I have to catch myself still. Like, oh, just take the trash out of the car now. Don't let it accumulate. It could be one little piece of trash, but over time it's gonna start accumulating. And then that falls in like everything else that I do, like having too many papers on my desk at work, or not getting rid of old notes, like small wins, which equal, the bigger picture of like being organized and being, clean, and just having the right stuff. Like, yeah, I've walked into work like with my uniform on a hanger, and I'll be like, oh man, I forgot my patches on my uniform. That's because I didn't prep the night before to have my stuff ready, because I just wanted to grab and go. I didn't know that I forgot that I washed my stuff and I had to take my patches off. It's just small little things. I think people look for discipline. They're like, okay, my discipline is I'm going to eat healthy for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and I'm going to wake up at this time, and I'm going to go work out. And then they just blow up because it's such a big task.
Yeah.
It's small little steps to create this whole daily drive, but you got to do it every single day. And people don't like that. They want to do it one day and be like, oh, that was a hard day.
Yeah. Dude, I'm a firm believer of like, if you're not exhausted by the end of the day, you're not doing enough. You know what I mean? And part of that too is like the disciplines that you hold yourself accountable to. Like, a lot, like what I've really been trying to do is get up earlier. And so like the reason why I laughed when you said get up at the first alarm, I have an 8 sleep. So it like will vibrate to wake me up.
Oh.
Yeah, it vibrates, but I just don't get up. And then Heather like gets super pissed. She's like, why do you even set that alarm if you're not going to get up? I'm like, just relax, just shut up. Just relax. Don't talk to me like that, woman. And then so I'll like shut it off and then I'll go back to sleep. And even like today I was going to go to, funny enough, we were talking about jiu-jitsu. I was going to go to the first day at jiu-jitsu at this new gym. And I did not get to bed on time at all. Like probably like 11:30 we're talking in the jiu-jitsu class. The only time that I can make because of my schedule is 6 a.m. And so I was like, all right, I'm going to set the alarm earlier at 5:15. It goes off. And I'm like, oh, God dang it, dude. So I'm laying there. I didn't get up. I didn't go to jiu-jitsu. So I felt like a piece of shit for the rest of the day, Yeah. And well, it's not even the end of the day, but I have felt like a piece of shit about it for so long because I'm a pretty disciplined person, but like, I think on social media and stuff, there's this like weird trend of self-love and self-care. And like, if you slipped up on discipline, you should be forgiving of yourself. And, the things that you're supposed to do, you could take breaks from, because if you don't, you're going to get burnt out and you shouldn't feel like shit about it. I'm like, no, dude, feel like shit. You should feel like shit that you didn't hold yourself accountable and that you didn't go follow through with the things that you said, especially as a man. When you say something, you better freaking do it. If you don't do it, you should feel like a piece of shit. Stop all this self-love bullshit, right? Stop all that. And so, yeah, today, bro, I was like, and especially because like I woke my girlfriend up for no reason. You know what I mean? Like I woke her up from sleeping. We all know women need their beauty sleep, and we just like we go do our thing or whatever, which is cool. Yeah. Like, so she got woken up. Now she's tired or whatever. And so I felt like a piece of shit because I didn't do what I said I was going to do, which I think is really important as a guy, doing what you say you're going to do, especially if you want to lead people, if you want people to follow you, if you want to influence people, always follow through. And discipline too, I think on social media is like all these people think like ice baths, sauna, like they make it all like super sexy, right? Like you need to have a 3-hour workout or whatever. But you're so right in the sense that, dude, it like real discipline is taking out the trash. Like it's reading a book every single day. It's doing all the little things so that you don't have accumulation of problems at the end of the timeline, whatever the timeline is, because like you said, if you don't pick up that piece of trash, I guarantee you won't pick up the next piece. And you don't pick up 2 pieces, it's not that big of a deal. When it gets to 10, I'll pick it up. Well, then 10 comes, you're like 20. And the next thing you know, your living room is covered in trash, or whatever it is. And then it just doesn't get done. So yeah, I'm totally there with you.
Yeah, small steps. And people were all, like, I would tell them before, I would do the ice baths in the morning, and that wasn't for necessarily discipline. I just liked it. I was doing that when I was in Kansas. It was easy to have outside. It was just like a horse trough thing. And people were like, oh, you're so disciplined. You're getting after it in the morning. I'm like, no, I just like, I kind of like it and I've gotten used to it. I just kept doing it. It's just consistency. Yeah. It became discipline. It's cool, but I actually like the benefits of it. And I also just want to stay consistent with something and see if it actually works. Like you can do it and not like it and then be like, okay, it didn't work for me. Let's try something else. Yeah. But people just, you're right. They just break down, or they're like, oh man, I want to feel good about myself. So how do I feel good? No, yeah, you should feel like you just did a shit ton of work
Yeah.
because you did. And then
Yeah.
that's okay because you're going to feel so much better after that. You don't have to prep your meal for tomorrow or get your bag ready because it's already done.
Well, dude, and
You know?
it's like working out, right? Like it calluses you. Like
Yeah.
like your hands get calloused from touching a barbell too many times, right? And
Yeah.
then eventually what happens? Like before the knurling on the barbell, it was ripping your hand open. It hurt like a whatever. And then eventually it gets calloused, and that bar no longer hurts your hand. Until you get a brand new barbell or you get like a Texas deadlift bar or something like that, and then the knurling is sharper. It's the same thing with anything, right? The ice bath becomes routine. It did become a discipline for you because it's every single day, right? And then if you add something else, that's the sharper barbell. When you add the new thing, like maybe it is just as simple as like doing the dishes every single night. That's the new barbell. You're trying to
Yeah.
condition yourself to do it again, to rediscipline yourself.
Yeah. And it's ever changing. Like
Yeah.
there's going to be new disciplines. There's going to be things you drop off, but are you doing it for a good reason? Like you want to not just change things to change things, but what else do you need in your life at the time? Because depending on what you're doing, like my job now, I don't have time to jump in the ice bath in the morning because I need to get to the gym earlier than I need to because I need to be in the office at a different time. So I need to either find a different time to do it, not do it right now, or prep a different way. So yeah.
Why do you think like disciplined people are so hard to come by now?
Because there are
Or
too
do
many
you
fake
think that?
ones. I think there are because there's too many fake ones out there that people think they are already. So they're kind of cocky about it. Because it's hard. And nobody likes doing things that are hard every day. And I don't know. I've been trying to find more people that kind of fall into my boat of like, okay, I want to do this and that, and like I want to go out and not drink. Like I haven't drank in a while, but there's people that just they feel I don't know. It's not a discipline thing. I just don't want to do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But they think that's discipline. Like, oh, I'm stopping myself because I don't want to do it. I just don't feel like doing it. I don't know. I think people aren't just in touch with themselves of what they really want. So they don't know what they want. So they're just going to do anything to say they're disciplined.
Yeah.
And if you're not in touch with what actually makes you feel better, that is your discipline. Like what makes you feel better? Me, not drinking. Okay. That may be discipline of somebody else, but to me, that's just like something I want to do.
Yeah.
So it's that much easier.
I'm I'm of the camp that actually thinks that like no one enjoys drinking alcohol. I like, and maybe that's like me because I'm sober or whatever. But dude, I spent a lot of time partying. And a long time of partying, and like going to the bar twice a weekend, and like getting loaded each time, like not taking a break type thing. Dude, I don't know. It's weird because if you notice, like, and this could go into the discipline talk too, but like if you notice, every time that people go out and drink, they're not doing anything new. It's not anything like novel. It's literally the same thing. Like you go to a bar, probably the same bar that you were at last week. You talk to the same people. You do the same bar games, like you do dice or whatever. You have the same drinks. You talk about last weekend when you were drinking while you're drinking this weekend. Like it's almost never anything novel or new. It's like I don't think that most people actually enjoy drinking. I think it's kind of like what you were saying where people just don't know what they want to do. And they're like sad. And then this is like the escape,
Yeah, because it makes them feel a little better. You know what I mean? It loosens them up. Like, and that's what they need to talk about serious stuff or not serious stuff. Like you can't just hang out and talk about stuff. Like I don't understand that at all. Like we can't just chill with a bunch of dudes and hang out and just talk. No, it needs to be a beer involved. It needs to be something to just get you going. It's like, I'm already going. Like just talk about it. I know we're all like thinking it.
Yeah. Well, the funniest ones are like, and I just think that has to do with like the lack of masculinity and just a bunch of pussy dudes, but we can talk about that or not. But the funniest thing is like when dudes can't say what's on their mind, they can't tell the truth about things until they have a drink.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've been in that like circle, but I remember that in college for sure.
Like you couldn't you remember when like you weren't able to tell your homeboy the truth about like what he did, or like if you didn't like that he did something or said something to you because like you didn't have a drink in you, so you didn't have liquid courage yet.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. It's like, oh, dude, this is how I really feel about this girl.
Yeah.
Or this is what I really feel about your girlfriend.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like then you have this like weird heart to heart. I remember I had this friend who like every single time he drank, he would cry and it was like a necessity for a heart to heart. And I remember like one day just thinking like you are so pussy. Like why is this always happening when you cry? Like why can't you ever tell anybody the truth? Like or how you're feeling when you're not drunk, you know? And it would always be
Yeah.
like he'd have to be like 3 sheets to the wind, dude, in order for this stuff to come out. And I'm like, bro, this is ridiculous.
Yeah, because people are not comfortable with themselves in their own light on a daily basis. Like you
Mm-hmm.
can't be drunk all the time to feel that way. You're obviously feeling that way when you're not drunk, and you don't want to get it out. And it just, I think, even talking like that when you're drunk, it just keeps those emotions still in you and makes you do the wrong things when you're sober.
Yeah.
Like it's a coping mechanism for some people, but I don't know.
Do you think that you have to be disciplined to be comfortable with yourself?
I think it comes with it. I think, yeah, I think it already would be part of you for you to be comfortable with yourself. Yeah, for sure.
In comfortable, let's like rephrase it. Be confident, right?
Confident, yeah, absolutely. Like, I'm not gonna, yeah, yeah, I would say that because if I'm not already doing it, I wouldn't be okay saying it if I wasn't already like going through the motions with it, which would
Yeah.
be my discipline of whatever it is.
Sure. Yeah, I tend to think the same thing, dude. I think that the least confident people that I meet or that I have met always seem to be the least disciplined too. Because I think with discipline comes skills, skill set. And with skills comes confidence. And with confidence brings everything else, right? And I think that
Yeah.
a lot of people who don't have any sort of discipline in their life, whether be it, their parents didn't discipline them as a kid or didn't hold them accountable to things or whatever, they always seem to be the guys that need to showboat or need to talk about all the things that they are not doing but they wish they were doing, or the things that like this is what's down the pipeline for me or whatever. And all the people that I've met that are like hyper disciplined, like they just kind of put their head down and shut up and they don't really talk about anything. And when you walk into a room, you can kind of smell that they're confident, because they don't need to showboat or talk shit.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's the confidence that comes with it is like a swagger that you have to walk in with. Like people notice right away.
Yeah.
Just because how you're saying, the inflection of how you're talking, or just how you're sitting and just making eye contact. Eye contact is huge too. A lot of people don't have good eye contact, especially people that were meeting in New York that just like kind of talk to you and they look to the side or whatever it is, and you're just like, you almost feel weird staring at them because you're like, why aren't you looking at me? We're trying to have a conversation here. Yeah, very weird.
Dude, that's a lost art. Eye contact and communication. Like I tell people like I get the opportunity to like mentor a bunch of kids because I train them and I get the opportunity to like actually talk to them, and like I see so much that a lot of these kids cannot hold eye contact. Like it gets very uncomfortable,
Yeah.
And so like even dude today, this old dude, like I feel like I'm pretty good at that, right? Like I've actually practiced this. This is like a thing that I realized I was lacking a few years ago, was the ability to hold eye contact, to have a proper conversation with people. I would say cuss words as filler words all the time. Today this old dude like checked me. I could feel it. Like that feeling when somebody's like they're testing you almost.
Oh yeah.
I had that with this older dude in the gym today. Like he would not let go of my eyes. Like it felt like he was like grabbing the back of my eyes to see if I would just like how long I could hold on to talking to him. And I just like, dude, I looked down for a second and then I realized what was happening. I was like, oh hell no. I looked him in the eyes, and then finally like we both broke. It was so weird. But I think it's so strange how many people like don't have that skill.
Yeah.
And they're so disconnected.
A lot of the kids that come in that are trying to join the army, like they're young kids, right? And they'll come in sometimes with their parents, and their parents will be talking to you fine, and the kid's just sitting there, head down. Yeah. I'm like, oh, so you're interested in the army or whatever it is, and they'll be like, yeah. And they just won't stare at you, and it's so wild.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's because the topic is weird to them or they're just new to them, but I doubt it. I think that's just how they are. Again, back to the parenting, back to the like my parents put me in positions like my mom made me do this thing in our development. It was like you had to hand out flyers at the door and then collect money for the monthly flyer. So she made me go door to door to get money from these people in our development, like $5 for the year, whatever it was, for the flyer.
Wow.
And I had to go talk to him. She's like, "Did you talk to him?" I was like, "Yes." And I had to like check it off a thing. And then she would call them and see how well I did, like talking to them.
No way.
100%. And I was just like, I didn't find out until later she was doing that. But over time, it got easier to talk to older people, to people that were coming up to the door, whatever it was, through a screen door. Like I had to make eye contact. It's kind of why I went to the communications major in college and stuff. That's what I majored in. And so I did like the debate classes, the theories classes, all that kind of stuff. So it helped a lot. But I just then noticed everybody else and I'm like, wow, yeah, no, communication is a lost art for sure.
Yeah, 100%.
Or talking about yourself. Some people just talk about themselves all day. They love, and they don't notice it.
Yeah.
But they love talking about themselves.
There's no questioning about the other person like that they're with or anything like that. Yeah, dude. Yeah.
No.
There's this book, How to Win Friends and Influence People is obviously like one of the best books ever written. There's this other book. I think it's like 92 effective ways to communicate or something. But there's this, she says in the book, I started reading it kind of recently. She says in the book, to be an effective communicator, there's all these different like steps, right? But one of the steps that I remember reading was, and I forget what she calls it, but it's this eye contact technique, basically, like where you only make eye contact with the person at like a really intimate or important part of the conversation. And if you're like talking to two different people, whatever the question or the phrase or whatever that there is, and it's like important, you make eye contact with the person that you want to hear it the most at that time. So like you and I could be talking right now about whatever, and then I'm making a point, and right when I make that point, I shift my focus to like the person sitting next to you if they're the person that I want to actually hear it. So yeah, dude, I think I'm right there with you. Communication is an art form, and so many people lack the skill. I personally think that it has something to do with social media, obviously, because you don't have to get out in the real world and learn how to communicate with people. But I also do think that it has to do with like parenting too. And I think, hold on one second. We have a chat, dude. We have our first chat.
Oh, nice.
It's Paulina. Yo, a live episode? ? Yes, Paulina, a live episode. That's right. Paulina is like the girl behind Paper Street Coffee.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, she's the one that basically runs the company for Gabe.
Are they going to be at there's a competition I'm going to in New Jersey in August called the Vitruvian Games.
You're going to Vitruvian?
Yeah, I'm
Are you signed
there.
up? You are?
Yeah.
Nice, dude. I don't think, Paulina, are you guys going to Vitruvian Games? I don't think you are.
They're in New Jersey, right?
Who?
Paper Street.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's nice. You haven't been yet?
No, I haven't. We need to go. We're stuck on the island in Long Island, so we have to get
That's
out.
far away.
Yeah.
Yeah, you should make the trip though. It's cool. Oh, they are going. They're a sponsor.
Oh, nice.
Lit.
Yeah, cool. I'll be there.
Cool. Logan's gonna come to you, and you're gonna have to give him like 7 cases of Frost for free.
I've only heard good things. I heard the Colton Merton's supposed to be there too.
At Vitruvian Games?
Yeah.
Yeah, we were supposed to be there, actually.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then we're going to the games, and then we're going to Legends. So, yeah. Are you still going to the CrossFit Games?
Unfortunately, I can't go anymore. I got a business. I got work to go down. I got to go to Maryland for a conference.
Oh, really?
During the same week. But my wife is going, and she's taking her friend. But they're going to be at the CBG tent hanging out there.
Nice. Wait.
Yeah.
Oh, the CBG nutrition.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Which Justin, the guy who runs CBG, he's awesome.
Yeah. Sweet. Maybe I'll have to talk to him.
Yeah.
All right. What were we talking about before Paulina so rudely interrupted us?
Paper Street. I need to order some. I need to order some coffee.
You're not on that subscription yet?
No. I got a lot of subscriptions right now. I got my Thursday already, and I got a couple other things. I need
which
to
one?
calm it
Thursday?
down. Thursday, yeah.
Are you using our code?
I think so.
Are you
How
using
do I know?
CXC?
How do I see that?
I don't know.
I think so. I think I did it a while ago.
I can ask for the analytics. Use our code for Paper Street too. You're doing that. We don't get paid
the same one?
we don't get paid from Paper Street at all. We just love them. Is it the same code CXC for sure on Paper Street? This is gonna be really bad, but I actually don't. Oh no, Counterculture ZZZ is the Thursday one.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. No, we were talking about discipline. I don't know, bro. I don't know, dude. Actually, you know who was one of the most disciplined people ever that I've ever met is Paulina.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Really. She this girl is 21 years old or something. She goes to bed at like 9.
Hell yeah.
She goes to bed at 9. She's up at like 4:30. The ass crack of dawn. She trains. She works for. Can I say both places that you work for, Paulina? There's one really cool company that she works for besides Paper Street. I'm going to say it anyway. Broken Science Initiative.
Oh yeah, Greg Glassman.
Yeah. Yeah. She works with Broken Science. And yeah, she's cool. We always say that she's the most disciplined 21-year-old that we know.
21. Wow.
At 21, I did not have any shit together. Nothing. Did you?
No. Other than just commissioning and getting out of college, like I was pretty broken. I was drinking a lot and partying and not in a good headspace at all.
Why not?
Because I got out of that. I was in that. I think that mindset that like my parents were holding me back because of the Catholic school and all this stuff, and they don't know what I need. And I went to college, and the first thing I did was like get a tattoo, and then met all these guys. That's where I met Pete. I can't think of his last name. The guy who owns Sisu.
Oh, cool.
I can't think of his last name right now.
I don't know his last name.
But we went to college together, and now he's like one of the most disciplined guys out there. Like his company's booming. But just partying craziness, and I was just like, this is what I need. I didn't get to do this. I didn't drink in high school, so I can do this all now. 4 years later, I'm like, yeah, this isn't what I need. These aren't the types of people I need to hang out with anymore. Because I was like, when I met my wife, I was like, oh, because I got my stuff together now, this is the kind of girl that I attracted. And I'm like, okay, I need to keep that going.
So, yeah, So was there a breaking point, or was there a point where like you kind of like had to become a disciplined individual, or did you have did you ever have a come into Jesus moment, like a wake up moment?
Yeah, I think so. I think that was the apex of like where I had a lot of panic attacks was in college, and they were just like coming more and more often. I think that's because I just wasn't close with God anymore, and I wasn't doing what I had sought out that I was doing in like high school and stuff, and it just like it ravished my life. It would almost be like sometimes every other weekend that I would freak out, and it'd be like late at night. I had no idea what I was doing, but it's gotten way better.
That's good.
But yeah, I think it was just a climax of those emotions over time, over those 4 years. And then I got to my first duty station, and I was like, oh, I need to be a big person because I'm in charge of actual people, and we're doing actual things. And it's like, oh, they look at me like I know the answers. And I'm like, dude, I just got out of drinking for 4 years and doing like half army stuff for 4 years, and you think I'm supposed to like lead you? So that kind of like my mindset changed over time. Got to meet a lot of good mentors. That's one thing in the military that I sought after was really good mentors.
Mm-hmm. Nice. There was no like crazy event that happened though, where you're like, I really gotta get my shit together.
No, just multiple crazy events. Nothing like that was too like out of the ordinary.
Yeah. So then when you say that you were able to attract somebody like your wife because of the man you become, what does that mean?
I think that's back to me being comfortable with what I wanted to do. So like I wanted to get fit. I wanted to have a routine and go to work, and people think and know that I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to show up like this brand new guy and act like I don't know what's going on.
Right.
Like, I wanted to walk into meetings and have notes ready, actually take notes. Some people don't even sit in there and take notes. They just show up to meetings, which is wild.
That is wild.
But leaving and then asking questions, which no one likes to do at the end of a 2-hour meeting, that you have 3 times a week. People don't ask questions, but I'm asking a question that like actually means something.
Yeah.
Not just dumb questions from not taking notes that people are like, oh, okay, he actually knows what the mission is or what we're doing, what we're training for. And when I started to go to CrossFit in Texas, I saw her at the CrossFit gym. We ended up working in the same unit. Like, we saw each other here and there, and kind of over time, I think she noticed, because she's a very, very disciplined person. From the get-go, she's like, oh, okay, that's what I like too, is someone else who's got their stuff together. And that was just me starting too. So I'm like, oh, if I'm just starting this and I'm attracting somebody like that, like, I need to keep that boat rolling.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I think it's interesting, especially like with the dating game, right? Like, you attract kind of who you are type thing.
Yeah.
So if you're not a disciplined person, you might be able to attract like a hot chick or something like that, but you're not going to attract the type of hot girl that you want, right? Like, not the type that probably has their own shit going for her, or even vice versa, right? For like chicks to dudes. Like, if you're wild and out there crazy partying, whatever gender you are, you're going to attract that type, or like the subtype of that, right? Like, you're not going to get the person that you want. Because when I feel like I've been pretty disciplined in most areas of my life for a long time, but I didn't really get it together until like after my baby mom and I separated. And then I was like, all right, my baby mom, the mother of my child, I had to like really get it together, because not that I was looking for a partner at the time. I wasn't at all. You know what I mean? Because I didn't meet Heather until like probably a year and a half after we separated. Yeah, probably a year and a half after. But I think that, you, regardless, male, woman, you attract more high quality people, the more high quality you become, and for me, it actually there was a period of time where I was like, oh shit, like, I actually did the, like, the corny shit where you look yourself in the mirror and you're like, am I doing all the things that I want to be doing? Am I doing all the shit that like I said I'm doing, or that I say I'm doing, or am I just kind of like, blowing smoke? And dude, I was blowing so much smoke. Like, I was just like, like, my business was going well. I was making decent money, whatever. And like, but I knew that I wanted more, and I wasn't doing all the things that was necessary to get more, because I'd spend my time on the weekend going out and getting drunk once or twice a week. And I'd be hungover on Sunday, and then I meal prep. And then I would only focus on like the work that I was currently doing during the week, and not working on any side hustle stuff,
Yeah. And do you feel like in that process of you finding yourself better, like on your climax of that, or your climbing of that, is that when you found Heather?
Yeah, I think that I found Heather like at the peak of that era for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, Heather and I met like in a weird circumstance kind of, so she didn't really know much about me besides like maybe what social media showed. But like, yeah, I think God works in weird ways, dude. Like, you self-improve, and then he's going to send you somebody that's like going to match your level, or match your energy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like, I mean, opportunities too, right? Like, you self-improve, magically opportunities pop up. You know what I mean? It's just like Gabe from Paper Street, actually, on our podcast, he said it best. He was like, it's funny that the harder you work, the luckier you become. And I take that into all aspects of life. It's funny, right? Like, the harder you work, the better of a person you become, the more quality people, not just like dating life, but the more quality people you tend to attract. When people can see that you work hard, more opportunities come to you, and you don't even have to ask for them, type thing. Yeah.
Yeah. It's opportunities that start arising just off of the small decisions you start making.
100%.
You had no idea we're going to open up, but because you did X or X, it's like, oh, now I can meet this person, or now I can do this thing. Like, if I wouldn't have joined CrossFit and wanted to keep going and wanted to train there and go every day, I probably would have met my now wife. I probably would have met her at work, and she would have been like, oh, he's just another, officer at work trying to hit on me or something like that. But, who knows what her thought process was, but her seeing me outside of work, her seeing me just what I did after the gym and stuff, and then talking about what we like, that popped off after work,
Yeah. Well, you still were an officer trying to hit on her.
100%. Yeah.
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 Yeah. Paulina says, we live the life we think we deserve. Dude, I believe that 100%. Like,
Yeah.
Are you a believer, like, in God,
Yeah.
Christ? Yeah. Okay, so I used to be like a new age woo woo hippie guy, right? Like I did the 200-hour yoga certification. I did transcendental meditation. I've done all the woo woo stuff, right? So I used to attribute this all to like the universe and manifestation or whatever, right? And so like when people say this, I 100% agree. We live the life that we think that we deserve, right? But I think it's like facilitated through God. Like God gives you the tools and he tells you like you are capable of anything in life. But if you don't think it and you don't put that thought into action and it doesn't manifest in your daily habits and your daily routine and the way that you go after something, like it will never happen, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I truly like for me it's so interesting because I've had a lot of talks even with Heather, my girlfriend, about like competitive CrossFit, like how she competes and stuff, and like sometimes she'll say like I suck at this or whatever, right? Instead of like I'm getting better, I'm trying. I'm like deep in my head, I tell her like you need to reframe the way you think, because if you don't think positively, you're not, the outcome isn't going to be there, because you're going to be looking at this as a negative. So the effort isn't going to be the same if it's a negative rather than if it's a positive, right? And then so oftentimes like in my head I'm like, well, you don't even deserve to walk on your hands if you think you suck at it.
Yeah.
Like there's a level of like you have to honor the truth, right? Like right now I am not that good. But then there's also like, I am deserving of being able to walk on my hands, or I am deserving of being able to host a live podcast show that's going to have 1,000 concurrent viewers, whatever it is. You have to believe that first, because when you believe that, the effort shows, like this show wouldn't be good. We wouldn't have a nice flow of conversation if we both just didn't want to be here.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And back to what you said about the tools that God gives us, that was a conversation me and my wife are still having about, because she grew up in a Christian household, but it wasn't as strict as what I went through with my like Christian Catholic. Like we went to church every single Sunday. We did, I was a cross bearer for years, altar server, all that kind of stuff. So I understood the mystery of everything. I didn't understand it, but I understood what the meaning behind, the mass was and et cetera. But free will. So we've been going back and forth on what free will is. And like, if you're able to get, like, if God already knows it's going to happen, what's the point of free will? Like, is there free will? And then we've gone back and forth because it's just good for us to kind of get out of our chest of what we actually think, what she thinks of it versus your ability. You have the freedom to do whatever we want. I can do whatever I want right now, but God already kind of knows it's going to happen, but he's again giving me the tools to do it. So how much of it is us thinking through it consciously that we can do it versus it's already been written in stone, and whatever we do, regardless of what I say next, he already knows is going to happen.
So, all right, follow me for a second here. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I've spent a lot of time on the free will talk, on the free will thoughts. And so in college, I never finished college, but I was exercise science. Actually, I was doing PT, like, that's what my intended major was. And then it was just like exercise phys, and then neuroscience is where I ended up. But in the process, I did so freaking much philosophy courses. I even asked, I had to send emails to ask professors, can I be in your course? It's a graduate level course, blah, 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 right? I went in. One of the topics is always free will. And now that I'm a Christian again, because I used to be an atheist, and I'd be like, there is free will, there's not free will. You go back and forth on that all the time as an atheist, right? Now, what do you think about this? That God has divine life paths for you, right? So it's like there could be this outcome, or there could be this outcome, and he knows what's going to happen, but he gives you the tools necessary to choose what you're going to do. So you are having free will in the sense of you're making choices every single day, right? But whether you decide to do the bad path or the good path is completely up to you. Do you get what I'm saying? It's like God can tell the future, but the path could change at any moment in time. Is kind of what I think.
Yeah, no, I see where you're going with it, and I agree. It's hard to kind of conceptualize sometimes, but it's definitely, yeah, I could go out and do something crazy right now, even though he knew it was going to happen. Like I had a decision. I could consciously sit here and make that decision. Like, yeah, no, I agree with that. It's hard to kind of, yeah, I don't know. I think it's at the end of the day, it's like he knows that you have the ability to do whatever you want and he knows what's going to happen. But at the end of the day, what is your higher calling to God is what we all absolutely know is to like, be in the kingdom of heaven.
Yeah.
So it's like, what gets us to there?
Yeah. Because it's like, I think almost Christianity, people think it's like conflicting because they're like, we're told that we have free will, but also God knows what's going to happen, right? And so like even saying like going to like we're supposed to get to the kingdom, we're supposed to, Christ is king, we're supposed to end up in heaven, right? That's where he wants us all. So like the ideas of free will and no free will can be conflated with the fact like he knows the future, so how do you have free will? And I think it's like you have free will because he allows you the choice to either do good or do bad. Either way, he knows what the outcome is going to be, but you're allowed to do good or do bad. The outcome is way later on in life based on the choices that you made.
Right.
So like he knows that you can end up in this spot or you could end up in this spot. Now he's leaving it to you.
Yeah. It's like almost different universes. Like, that there's going to be an ability to do something. Like, I don't know. We've talked about it before too. Like, oh, in a different universe, I wasn't even in the military. We're not in New York. We're somewhere else.
Yeah.
We could have made a decision early on in our lives. Like that could have been something where I'm like, oh, I'm going to go be an entrepreneur. I'm going to go do logistics for somebody else.
Yeah.
It's totally possible. Could have happened, but I chose this.
Yep.
First. So yeah. It's cool when you have a group of people talking about it. Like, I don't know, with people with different backgrounds and stuff. Cause I always like listening to what other religions or what other people from different walks of life, how they came from their families, what they think of free will, and the decisions they made. Because they'll be like, well, I wasn't educated enough to make this decision, and I'll be like, okay, but that's also you're also making a decision with whatever education you already have. Like just because you didn't have it, sure, you're naive in there, but you can attain it.
It's a
and
choice.
Even if you couldn't attain it, you have a choice to do other things. Like I don't know what the stock market's going to do, so I can't make a decision on that because I'm too naive to like look into that, but I can still make a choice. Yeah. Or I can still, I don't know. It gets muddled because it's kind of hard to elaborate, and I'm not as good as Hiller at making analogies on everything because that's all he does is just make a million analogies to something. Yeah.
Well, people are lazy, dude. Like they don't even want to do that work. You know what I mean? Like you have access to a Bible. You have access to the Quran. You have access to the Bhagavad Gita. So like if you really want to know answers, if you really want, like, dude, I did that. Like I read a part of the Bhagavad Gita. I don't actively always read the Bible. I'm trying to get better on that. It's something that me and my mentor talked about today, actually, in our meeting. That I need to get better at reading the Bible. And I truly do think that, because if I'm to be a believer, if I want to be bought in completely, then I need to know what the text actually says, but yeah, people are just lazy, dude. They just want to have an opinion based on like nothing,
yeah, based off of headlines that they read for 5 seconds when they're scrolling.
Hot take, what do you think about this? I think that the country, America, United States, not that I think that it's complete shit, obviously I live here, I love my country, but I think it kind of went downhill as soon as they started taking God out of everything. What do you think? I remember being a kid, like in high school, and that was when the talks were, we should take the Pledge of Allegiance, or no, we should take out In God We Trust. In God We Trust out of the Pledge of Allegiance.
They did that at your school?
No. That was when the talks started happening.
One nation under God?
Yeah, one nation under God. That's what it was. They wanted to take one nation under God out of the Pledge of Allegiance.
Yeah.
And now the world that we live in America is like so secular. There's no actual like moral or ethics standard that people have to live by.
Yeah, because people want the separation of church and state. They want that comes from politics too, what the either party or whatever has pushed on us to like, oh, it should be every religion should be out there for anybody to do, which is fine. Yeah, absolutely. That's your right. And then they look at what we've built our country on, and they're like, oh, that's not good anymore. Mm-hmm. But like, we're such a young country still at the end of the day compared to other countries and like timeline of the universe, et cetera, whatever. But yeah, I think it has gone downhill when you start getting rid of things that you built upon, the freedom of America on, or the bringing people together. Like, I think people overlook the fact that we're saying that because we're trying to be better people, not because we're forcing God down your throat. Yeah. Like, we're trying to use the entities of Christianity to bring people together because that's what it does. It's a positive environment. Yeah. And then you get the people that tell you like, oh, well, the priests are just trying to touch little boys and stuff. And they're, at the end of the day, they're human.
Yeah.
Like, they are humans. They make decisions, right? The free will to make decisions, and they sin. And it's terrible that happens in church. It happens everywhere too. It happens in schools. It happens in other organizations. It happens in the military. It happens wherever. But when you start picking the pieces and picking it apart, yeah, you're going to be like, oh, this is bad for us. We don't want one singular religion to run our whole country. When I don't think that's the case. I think it's just we've built upon the commandments. We've built upon the principles of Christianity to keep us together as a country that's free, because it's a positive environment when you do have a strong people together. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's the building blocks of it. I think people get so, like, the far right is like, oh, we need God everywhere and we need the Christianity and everybody should be religious, and not everybody's going to be. Like, that's the far right. There's a far left, and there's in the middle where it's like these are building blocks to our nation. So yeah, I do think it's gone down when we start pulling these small things out of the schools that have kept us together. They're not filling it with anything. They're just putting more garbage in. They're not filling the void with any other structure. I think that's a problem too. They're not taking God out and trying to fill it with something else that kept the same kind of mentality.
That's a huge problem. Like, I feel like there's no moral and ethic code that anybody lives by, right? Like, it's like everybody's free to like make their own ethics and morals almost in like the state that we're in. To me, it's crazy because like, if the right person gets in power, the wrong person rather, morals and ethics could go completely out the window, and like everything bad could turn good, and that's kind of like what you see happening now, and like, yeah. I mean, because I'm a Christian, I think that like God shouldn't be taken out of schools. He shouldn't be taken out of like anything. I can see the argument for separating church and state, but then when you separate church and state, you leave the morals and ethics up to humans rather than some divine being.
Right, and we're not infallible, so yeah. Like, we're going to make this bad decisions because that's what we do most of the time.
And we're never going to agree on what's right and what's wrong.
Right. Yeah. There's no talk. There's no long form talks anymore. It's 5 seconds of yelling at you with a camera in front of your face telling you you're a piece of shit.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. That's what we're doing right now, though. We get into a big argument and yell at each other. Yeah. You're wrong. No, you're wrong. You idiot.
No, people will just get so, back to the communication, they get so flustered when you even like talk about trying to have a conversation about whatever they don't like. Like, you can't even sit there and talk through it.
Oh my!
And then come to the conclusion of we don't agree. That's fine. You can come to the conclusion that you don't agree.
The idea that you have to hate somebody based on the fact that they have separate ideas from what you think is crazy to me. So one of the reasons why I was an atheist for such a long time is because the dogma, right? That's behind religion, and that like, you need to believe what I believe. But really, when you break it down, it's the secular people that have those ideas that you cannot be separate from, or I hate you and you should die. Like, yeah. It's always the secular liberals that have these ideas, right? And I'm like, dude, I'm not conservative. I'm not liberal. Like, I don't have any attachment to whatever political affiliation. So just bear with me, right? I'm saying secular liberals is like the pussy people that don't really have a real opinion, that don't actually have any opinions based on fact. They just have feelings, and then they think that all their feelings should be validated, which, by the way, your feelings just shouldn't be validated if they're not valid, period. I don't care what it is. You know what I mean? Like, I that's one thing that I hate more than anything, or dislike. I don't hate anything. But Oh, dude, I lost my train of thought there because I
Have
just got so angry for a second.
Have you been to a protest before?
No, Milwaukee had a really big BLM protest, like humongous. And then we obviously had Kenosha that happened with Kyle Rittenhouse. I was going to. This is gonna sound crazy.
Yeah, be careful.
Yeah, this is gonna sound crazy. I was going to go to the BLM riots downtown for content. Like I was gonna go cover it and like take a wireless mic and stuff. And this was before this podcast and whatever. I was gonna go do it for content, and I decided like I started seeing some of my actual like privileged, rich as hell, liberal friends go down and be part of something that they didn't have any education in, and they were getting shot with rubber bullets by police officers and like flashbangs and stuff. And I was like, not for me.
Yeah.
I just didn't even. Have you?
Yeah, actually, I went to the this was when I was in college. I was part of the Newman group, which is like the Catholic group at a university.
Oh, cool.
And we went to the pro-life march in DC. And this was me thinking like, oh, this is going to be good. And like, I'm going to be able to talk to people, because I'd never been to a mass protest before, or any kind of protest, to be honest. And that's what it turned into. Like, it wasn't just a march, it was a protest.
Okay.
And they had Vice President Pence talk, and he was the first vice president to ever talk at a March for Life. And I guess that's where I kind of got opened up to like how much hate there is there, because you had the pro-life people and you had the pro-choice, and these we're just walking.
Yeah.
Like walking through around DC, and they are yelling and screaming at us.
Why, did you have some sort of like banner or something with you guys?
Yeah, we had like giant pro-life banners and signs, and they had some other people had pickets with like dead babies on it, and I was like, before I went, I'm like, oh, okay, we're gonna spread good word, like, hey, like abortion is bad, etc. But there was way more people that were so exaggerated that I was for the pro-life march, but I wasn't for like just yelling at people. Like I didn't like these people that were pro-choice. They're like, how could you not let us make a choice for our bodies? And in my head, I'm like, no, like there's circumstances, like there's reasons. Like if we had a conversation, about it, you can't have a conversation about every single situation. But if we sat down and talked, we'd probably come to the conclusion that hopefully killing is a bad thing. Yeah. It's a sin. But to the point where I'm stopping someone from making a decision on a legal ramification, it was just like, it became so aggressive in nature, where they were protesting like at the people, like they hated you. Like they didn't hate just what you were standing for, they hated me standing there. And I couldn't get over that. I never went back, because I was just like, as much as I disagree with abortion,
You do?
I disagree. I disagree with the killing of a person.
Yeah.
Like that's what I more disagree on, not just I'm not disagreeing on your rights as a person to make a decision.
Yeah.
I'm disagreeing that there's a life loss. And I don't think you're either one side or the other. There wasn't any kind of middle conversation that you could have, because everybody was just screaming at each other. I tried to have a conversation with one person. It was not going to happen, because all their friends came around. They're yelling at me. I'm just like, okay, this isn't happening. This is what I thought it was going to be.
Well, you're not devaluing somebody else's opinion just because you're sharing yours, right? And you're not devaluing that person as a person just because you have an opposing opinion either. I think that's what I was kind of like getting at before I had a brain fart and lost my train of thought, is that it's just crazy that you can't have a differencing of opinion than somebody else without them hating you. And it's odd, because throughout time, throughout history, throughout the entirety of the human race, you've had to discuss ideas, right? And you have to discuss uncomfortable ideas, because you can't make any progress if it's just a bunch of people screaming at each other, beating the shit out of each other because we don't agree on something.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's not productive at all. So like, let's just say like, I don't agree with abortion either. I think there are some circumstances that are really messed up, but like, I don't agree with abortion, but it's like, but I can't sit like if you were to sit there and yell at me over your opinion on abortion, like if I wasn't a normal thinking person, I'd probably disagree with abortion even more. then
Yeah, exactly.
Then if you just like had a civil conversation with me and was like, hey, what about these? And you brought up ideas and we discussed ideas, that's a better chance of me like seeing your side of the story.
Yeah. Yeah. There was a handful of people that were just like, no, we want the baby to be killed. Like, we don't care. Like, there was a very like much agitators there that were just like, we don't care about anything. Like, it's our body. We're going to do whatever we want with it. And then there was the people on the pro-life side that were like, oh no, as soon as conception happens, like, don't touch, etc. No matter what, like, the baby's life is more important. And I'm just like, we're not going to have any conversation while we're here with the thousands of people that showed up, hundreds of thousands of people, like, about just what we agree on from both sides. Like, none of it happened. And I was like, this sucks.
Well, there's always got to be those like extremes on the, on either side, right? Like there's always these people that just like, and they always double down. Like they don't just like abortion. They want the baby to be killed, like you said. And like there's the people on they're on our side, like you said too, where like they don't just disagree with abortion. You shouldn't even have sex before you're married. You know what I mean? That type of thing.
Yeah.
And then like it's crazy because I don't know if you paid attention to like the Trump assassination attempt thing at all. But there was this streamer who his name is Destiny. Have you heard of this guy? Mm-hmm. Well, anyways, he's like a big streamer. He went on what's that British guy's name? He's like a newscaster guy. Man, I don't remember. Whatever. He went on a mainstream show and basically he had tweeted, F Trump, F that guy who lost his life. There was like a firefighter that lost his life. He was protecting his wife and kids. And he literally said, F Trump, F that guy who died. He shouldn't have been there, whatever, blah, blah. Like just doubling down on the fact that like, if you're a Trump supporter and you get killed at his thing, like you deserve it.
Wow.
Which is just, it's wild, dude.
That's like inhumane. It's like, it's unhuman to say that.
Yeah. It's like, I don't like any of them. You know what I mean? I don't like any of the politicians. Like, do I want Trump in office over, whoever? Sure. I don't think that they really do anything regardless, both any parties. Like, I don't think the president does anything. But like, if I did have like a really strong stance or opinion, I would like never would that come out of my mouth where like, yeah, you deserve to die because you support somebody in politics who I'll never talk to ever in my life. And the downstream of what they decide to do probably doesn't affect me at all anyways. All that stuff at the highest level of government, it's all smoke and mirrors, dude. None of it matters. Yeah. You know what I mean? And like pretending like it does and that it affects you somehow in your immediate life is just retarded.
Yeah.
And then to say that people should die because they disagree with your viewpoint, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's the radicalization of like people's thoughts. It's just I don't think they sit down and they think like that's another human regardless. Like,
yeah.
And then you can always sit there and hypotheticalize like, oh, what if it was the other way around? What if it was Biden talking, right? What it could be like right now. And I'm sure it would be even wilder, like riots.
If there was an assassination attempt on Biden, oh my gosh, dude, Kenosha would have been up in flames again.
Yeah. But yeah, no, but those people have the biggest voices because they're saying so many things that are so radical that people are like, yeah, I think I believe that. Because they're not going to say they don't because they don't want to have a different opinion than someone who's got a big platform.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And it's like, yeah, kind of like we were talking about earlier too, is like people just like, I think I kind of feel bad for these idiots, right? Because I'm like, they just so badly want to fit in with, and it doesn't matter who it's with. They just want to fit in with somebody that they have to say the craziest shit or they have to support the craziest shit and they can't have their own thoughts and they can't, they just can't think for themselves because if they do, who are they going to fit in with? They've been outcasts for the majority of their life. Like make no mistake that dudes who dye their hair blue and that scream at people on the side of the road and act like literally like animals in the jungle, right? Are not normal people and they don't fit in anywhere, but they finally found a tribe that they fit in with. So they double down on it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, what is it? I was watching the Hiller video when he was like following some of the games athletes, right? And he was following Abby Dommett recently.
I don't know who that is.
Yeah. She's a games athlete. This year she's a rookie and she's gonna kill it. She's with Golden Line
Okay.
And she's out. I think she's out in San Antonio. But she was talking. I guess there was a point in the video where she had a book. It had like Hitler on it or something like that. And she was just reading. Like she likes to read about history. She likes to read about all this kind of stuff. And people in the comments were going after her about having a book that had something that was people don't like to talk about. And then she had a post later, and she was like, "I just like to read about a lot of things. Like, what's the problem with it?" And just like yesterday, I got a book from somebody at the gym from this lady that was on Joe Rogan, Annie Jorgensen. She was talking about nuclear fallouts and stuff, and she has some books on Area 51. And one she has on Operation Paperclip, and on the front it has a big Nazi symbol on it. And I'm like, I can't even bring that to work because I couldn't imagine the people that are like, "Oh, why is that army guy reading a book with a giant Nazi symbol on it?" Because that could be taken out of context so fast.
Yeah, for sure. That's interesting that you say that because you know who Andrew Tate is, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I like Andrew Tate a lot. I've listened to a lot of his, like I've listened to the full context of like the clips that you see, like the viral clips, right? And when you actually listen to this guy talk, he's very articulate. He's got a lot of really good points. He does a lot of like men's self-improvement stuff, which I'm really passionate about because men are suffering in numbers like crazy, right? But one thing that he just said in a podcast that I was listening to, it's with this like crypto dork guy, was oh man, dude, what did he say? Something that you said about, okay, so she got in trouble for having a book that had like the swastika, right? Because people like it's uncomfortable for people, so they assume like something must be wrong with her or whatever. He literally said this. He goes, "You don't want me to bring up Hitler." They were talking about like whatever. He said the N-word. He's half black, right? He's half black. He says the N-word. The dude got really uncomfortable. It's like a white guy that he's talking to. And then Andrew Tate's like, "Do you not understand why I'm doing it?" He's like, "Well, why?" He's like, "Because the less we normalize hearing this stuff, the more it's going to affect people when it's said." Right. So like he's a half black dude. He's saying it. I'm not going to go around saying the N-word because I don't like the N-word. You know, like two of my best friends are black. So I'm not going to say the N-word because I know that there's obvious reasons why the N-word exists. Right. But one thing that he did say too is the guy got uncomfortable when they brought up Hitler too. And then so Andrew Tate was like, "So let me ask you a question. Did Hitler wear shoes?" And the dude's like, "Well, yeah." And he's like, "Okay, do you wear shoes?" And the guy was like, "Well, yeah." He's like, "Well, then you must be Hitler. You must be like Hitler. You must be." And, you know, so the point there is like, like they're like, it's just, you have similarities with people. And just because, you know, she's reading the book with the swastika doesn't mean that she's a freaking Nazi. Just because you wear shoes and Hitler wore shoes doesn't mean that you're a Nazi. And you should be allowed to discuss ideas. You should be allowed to bring up names and words in conversation and talk about it.
Yeah, especially when it was something that changed the earth. Like it changed a lot of, you know, the world politics and military. Like there's reasons to read about these people. Like people love to talk about Genghis Khan, right?
Yeah.
Dude, that guy has like, what is it, like 13% of the bloodline in Asia? Like he wasn't a good person. Like,
no.
But they love to refer to him as this mass general that, you know, took over lots of land. Yeah, he was a rapist and a pillager and a terrible human. Like murdered people in the streets, burned people alive. Like,
yeah, I mean, what was it? What did he do? He was like the biggest genocidal guy in history, wasn't he?
History, yeah. He wiped off the footprint for a lot of people.
Yeah, it's crazy, but like, yeah, I think it's probably worth everyone's while to read about Hitler. You know, legitimately, it's probably worth everyone's while to know about who Hitler was and what were some of the tactics that he used. We can see some stuff in real time, right? OnlyFans and porn and hypersexualization of women is really, really popular right now, right? And it's desensitizing us. What did the Nazis do in order to calm men in like other countries that they were attacking? They put freaking porn in the magazines, bro. I
didn't know that.
Yeah, they put like, this is like something we could go down a deep rabbit hole right now. One of my friends is really deep and like he knows like all this shit, right? And he was telling me, he's like, yeah, and I don't know if it was Belgium or Germany or whatever, but they would literally put like pictures of naked women on the windows of stores or whatever to keep the men docile and like distracted, you know? And it's like, dude, whether you're right leaning or left leaning, these are things that you should know about, because if you don't think history repeats itself, and you can call me a conspiracy theorist or whatever you want, I don't care. I think the hypersexualization of women and the, you know, is something to keep men basically castrated and like, you know, docile and distracted, so that like when shit does go south, like we can't do anything about it because there's too many men that are like, you know, distracted and neutered basically, you know. And so like you keep them distracted, you keep them in the house, they're watching porn, they're addicted to it, they're fat, they're lazy, you know, because they don't have any purpose in life, and you take it away. And the hypersexualization of women, putting women on a pedestal, they should be treated like queens, they should be treated like ladies, whatever. We all agree with that. But then like you literally castrate guys and they don't find any purpose. And now we're in the state where we're at now, where guys are hyper depressed. They feel like they're, you know, they're the loneliest that they've ever been. They can't date. They don't know how to talk to women. They don't know how to talk to people. And then so if the government does want to do any dumb shit, who's going to take care of it?
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah, because they're going out to the bars drinking. Back to what we said before. That's the only way they can talk, and they're on TikTok.
Yep.
They're
sedated.
on Snapchat. Sedated. Yeah. No, I would agree with that. I didn't know that about what they did, but it makes complete sense because they're actually smart enough to tap into like the monkey mindset of our heads of what we want. You know, like what we want but not need. And people are too easy to fall into the trap of what they want because they're like, oh, it's easy. It's free. It's easy.
Yeah, dude. And I mean, the whole thing, right? Let's just like touch on this. You can give me like some takes that you think about this, right? So like the over sexualization of women, right? Like I think one of the best things that like a single guy can do is not have sex. Go monk mode. Don't beat off. Don't have sex. All this stuff, right? Here's why. Because when you take that focus off of like, because it's women, right? Like we all love women. Mm-hmm. Women are beautiful. Like I love having my girlfriend. I happen to like female genitalia. You know, but like I'm not over like hyper focused on like the only thing I can think about is getting my nut, you know, at the end of the day, because I have other shit to do, right? I have like honestly, I love sex as much as the next guy, but I have shit to do, and like I have purpose in my life, so it's not the thing that's leading my life, right? But I think that one of the best things that a single guy can do is go monk mode. Don't even talk to women unless like maybe you go on a few dates or whatever, because that way you don't get distracted. I think the hypersexualization of women, the over-sexualization of women, is one of the worst things that happen to society in general. This is like a really hot take that I have, okay? I think it's a terrible thing that happened to the world because we were talking about the nuclear family before, right? So now women are given so much hurrah and praise for being boss babes and boss bitches, and like told you should go on OnlyFans because you should be able to express yourself like sexually, and you should be a boss babe, and look at the bag that you can get off of OnlyFans. Look at how much money you can get. Okay, I don't need a man anymore, right? I don't need to find a man to date. And then when they become 30, they're like, oh wait, maybe I do want to get married. And then the guys don't want to marry those girls. You know what I mean? And then so here we go down the road of like single motherhood, no nuclear family, kids, like the birth rate is going down. Men are like depressed. Men are becoming incels in like huge numbers, right? Like they don't want to even talk to a woman. They're too scared to. They've put them on a pedestal for a long time. And then boom, everything that happens in our world, right? Everything that happens in our world. And then men feel like they need to agree with all this weird shit, all the trans shit, all the like the brownie point stuff, the virtue signaling and stuff, because by the off chance that I show up to this protest and I agree that trannies should be in the same bathroom or trans people should be in the same bathroom as my kid, I might get pussy.
Yeah. But what about the part of, you said not talk to women at all when you're single? What about just having the ability to talk to women cordially, like totally platonic, like being able to be confident to talk to a woman and just being able to not think sexually, like in a setting? Like I feel like a lot of guys do, especially when they're single. They're like, oh, if a girl's talking to me in any capacity, like she's kind of hitting on me or she thinks she likes me. It's like I don't think people are confident enough to just talk to people, regardless, man or woman, to be like, okay, that's it.
Yeah, that's a weird line, or a weird thing for me, because I think that we're guys, right? Like I think that always in the back of your head there's always some sort of thought. You know, obviously, I think once you get like a girlfriend or something like that, and like you're talking to another girl, I think it changes a little bit because you have something. And I think personally, I think that once a man like falls in love with a woman, like he falls in love with her, you know? And so like, then you go down the road, like somebody's going to say, what about cheating? Like all the dudes that cheat. I'm like, yeah, he's cheating with his dick, not his head. You know, they're two different things. Like, or he's cheating with his dick, not his heart. Those are two different things, you know? But, yeah, but I don't think like, I think the only way that guys can do that, where they talk to women totally platonic, is if they have a time not focusing on women at all, because they're not putting them on a pedestal, you know, like, because so many guys, the only time that they do have you're right. The only time that they do have interaction with a girl is like if they're chasing pussy, or like if a girl talks to them at all, they suddenly think that they have a chance with them or whatever. So I think that one of the best things that a guy can do, tell me if you agree, is figure out what your purpose is, get on a mission, start building something, and then after like a little while then sure, talk to chicks, you know what I mean? Or if like obviously if a chick talks to you and like wants to be your friend, don't tell her to F off, you know what I mean? Like that would just be stupid. Like that's just dumb, and that's not human, like we were talking about before. Like people don't live like that, you know? But I think that, yeah, one of the best things that you can do is like become the best you first, and then if a girl if you want to be friends with a chick, or a friend happens along the way, sure, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Men definitely, because men definitely need their mission. They need to find what they need to do, and it takes solitude sometimes, for sure, or other guys.
Yeah,
it takes other guys to help them along. But yeah, definitely with having women in the picture too, it can jade your mindset, because you have this feminine aura around you. But you want, I think more guys do, especially if they're single. They need to find what they want in life and get after it first, before they either slow down or look for other options. Yeah, I don't think enough guys do that, because they're just either jumping back on Bumble or whatever it is, and Tinder, because they need that other piece they think they need in their life.
Yep.
But they don't really. They just need to find what they want to do.
Yeah, well, dude, because a woman is going to slow you down. And it's not like a bad thing, right? Like, I'm not saying like she's going to slow you down because she doesn't want you to succeed or whatever. You're going to slow down simply because you're now her boyfriend, or you're dating
you
her.
Take time. Yeah,
right,
you
like,
take time for it.
Exactly. So like you have to make time for the relationship. You have to make time to actually like water the flowers or whatever, you know, and like spend time with the person. And like that doesn't mean that you ever like let go of your mission or whatever, but I guarantee you, even if you're gay, you could be gay, right? And like you get a boyfriend, and like you're in a relationship now, so that takes time away from your mission. It takes time away from your path. Like it has to, you know, there's no way that it doesn't.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, I'm sure yourself too. Like I had aspirations of what I would do if I was single, and like do all these different kind of military schools, or go do these different types of jobs. But when I found my wife, I'm like, oh no, the family is more important. Like we're more important than anything else. So we're going to do decisions based off of you and me, not based off of what I wanted to do when I was single. So yeah, it definitely is it's a compromise after that, that you're not going after what you wanted to do before.
Yeah, 100%. I agree. Yeah, dude. Well, hey, we've been on here for an hour and 52 minutes. That was freaking easy.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah. Is there anything else that you want to talk about real quick, or like leave notes on?
No, I need to read that book though you were talking about.
Which one?
It was the second one. It was about communication.
Oh yeah. I think I have it in my Amazon cart right now. I'll read it to you what it is. It's on or in my orders, my past orders, whatever it is. I'm so not tech savvy, dude. Okay, so it's How to Talk to Anyone, 92 Little Tricks for Big Success in Relationships. So like she basically says that her book is the new version of Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's a good read. It's really good. I'm only like, admittedly, I'm only like between 30 and 50 pages in, but so far it's really good. She does a good job at like keeping things concise and easy. Like you don't have to like read hella pages to get the point, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's good.
Another really good book. I don't know how much you read, but another really good book is the book, The Way of the Superior Man. That book is crazy good. Are you watching our live on another tab by chance?
Me?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, so maybe Paulina's still in here. So we had one total. No, we had 6 viewers.
Oh,
We
nice.
have 1 concurrent, which is Paulina, I think. Paulina, W in the chat if that's you before we sign off. I want to know who this is. Or whoever you are, W in the chat. Did you train yet today?
No, I got to right after this. Head to the gym after this.
Paulina is still here.
I did play an hour pickleball though right before here.
You did?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
You're on the pickleball court, huh?
That was the first time since high school.
Nice. Dude, what? How come I never knew about this sport? I mean, everybody that I talked to like knew about it in high school, and I had no clue until like a year ago.
Oh yeah, I thought it was only a high school sport for the longest time. Like, oh, you just do this in gym class.
Really?
Yeah, and then I found out like 2 years ago when it just like blew up out of nowhere.
Huh.
I was like, oh dang.
It's
There's
like
a
the
pickleball
fastest
court
growing
like
sport.
down the street. Yeah. They take it and they can actually get paid.
Yeah. What the
I'm like, oh, CrossFit athletes can't get paid that much, but these guys can get paid and sponsors like crazy.
Wow. Oh, they get like paid?
Yeah, some of the top guys get paid a lot.
Wow. Let's before we get off, Paulina, give us like an interesting take real quick before we get off. Give us something like maybe clip. Dude, I gotta find somebody to clip these for us.
Yeah, it would take me a while to figure out how to do that.
Yeah,
but I'm
'cause
sure.
I think that was a pretty good stream.
Yeah, you tell me. This is the first one I've been on.
It I mean, to me, I feel like it went pretty fluidly. Like it went, there's no issues, not a lot of dead space, which is good. Paulina, what do you think?
Dead space is good for the pod, especially if you're watching in the car or listening in the car. You're just like, what the heck happened? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
One of the podcasts I listen to sometimes had dead space, and they'll just be like, "That was great for the pod."
Dude, we were listening to Savan on the ride home from Missouri, and at one point they just all stopped talking for like 2 minutes, and I was like, oh, looks like it's done. Heather's like, it's not done. I'm like, what do you mean they stopped talking?
Yeah, you're like halfway through the podcast.
Yeah.
He's like thinking.
Yeah,
he just sits there and he
30
thinks.
minutes. Dude, that's actually something that I talked to my mentor about today. Was we were talking about communication and whatever, and he's like, so I stopped swearing. Like, I stopped saying the F word, and like big things, right? Like I don't call people B words much anymore. Like I'll say it on occasionally, right? But so I was talking to him about it. I'm like, I'm not convinced that like God cares about the language that I use, right? Like that. But I was like, what I have noticed is that not swearing, I have figured out better ways to articulate my ideas and discuss my ideas, and it sounds a little bit better. And he was like, I was actually going to say that about you, that you've shaped up like the formation of your sentences and stuff, And I was talking about how I think that something that I've learned by not swearing is that silence is okay. You ever think about that? Like so many times we have these filler words because we're uncomfortable with the silence.
Yeah, you need time to think. People are like always ready for the next answer.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, me and my wife don't struggle with it, but it's sometimes like I like to like sit back and think on what she said sometimes, and she'll be like, "Are you good?" I'll be like, "Yeah, let me think for a second." Like sometimes there's a lot going on. She's pulling stuff from like a year ago that I'm trying to remember that she remembered like yesterday.
That's the normal female nature. They always do that.
It's rough. It's rough. I'm like, how do you remember that? How do you remember I pulled that fork out of the drawer like 7 years ago?
Yeah, dude. Yeah. Paulina says, I like the faith talk, the discipline talk, communication. Oh, the part about free will. It'll pull clips for you. What does that mean?
What, it'll pull clips?
Yeah. What will pull clips?
Like those small, and like if you clip those sections and use those as like small, like, hey, free will, and you have it like in a big banner, the talk on free will, and you just use that like 5 minute or 10 minute conversation and clip it and use that as like a whatever on YouTube. Kind of like what Rogan does when they find a topic when he's with somebody. Instead of you trying to find it in the pod, and it's like a 3 hour long podcast, and you're trying to find the right minute, they'll just take that 10 minutes and make that its own little thing.
Well, I mean, is there like AI on YouTube that like separates it for you, that does timestamps or something?
I wouldn't be surprised. I don't know.
I did notice that on one of my YouTube videos. I don't know if that was like my channel.
Oh, where like cuts it up at the bottom.
Yeah, like it gave me this was here and this was here, and I was like, what the hell? I didn't do that.
That's weird.
That is weird.
I'm sure there's something for it already. That'll clip everything for you.
Paulina just texted me. Oh, okay. She just sent me something cool. Download the full episode and plug it in here. It'll create clips. Oh, dude, I missed the whole chat that she sent. Said download it and put it into Opus. So it's complete. Okay, this is making more sense. All right, sweet. Well, how do you feel, dude? What do you think?
No, this is good. I don't really get to talk about this stuff a lot, so it's really nice to be able to just talk to you about it and then have a platform to kind of for other people to listen to if they want to or not, and disagree and agree. Like that's kind of where I'm trying to get with it, is to get more people open to talk about a little bit of everything. And if they disagree, dude, call in. Like talk about it. Like I would love that for someone to call in and we actually like have a good conversation on it.
We can do that. I have the stuff to do it. I just don't know how to do it. So of course.
Does she have an app for that too? Ask her.
She might have an app for that, but my mixer that I have has the capability for that. I just literally don't know how to do it. I got to figure out all this stuff. But first, yeah. I don't know. I think it'll be good. So let's see how this episode does in terms of viewership and stuff. But I think it'll be good. Yeah. Anything you want to leave with? Well, you know what? Let me say something. This is really, I haven't done a job, or I haven't even tried, to be honest, to explain on any episodes what the counterculture is. And this is basically what I think the counterculture is. All the talks that we just had today is just discussing ideas, and having open dialogue. And, you know, I disagree with a lot of the mainstream narrative stuff, like get a 9-to-5 job, you know, be fat and sick, pharmaceuticals, all this like everybody, you all know what the current culture is, right? I just disagree with a lot of it. And I hope that through having this, especially the live platform, that people can call in and we can have open dialogue and discussion and stuff like that. And it's productive, right? Because I think that's the only way that you really create a society of people who are willing to change, or willing to change their mindset, like have like hear other ideas, right? That's the only way that you can actually make a society that works. So and Paulina just said you got to connect the phone to the mixer, either hardwire or by Bluetooth. Okay, Paulina, I'm gonna be calling you at some point so you can tell me how to do this shit.
She got all the answers.
Yeah, she does have all the answers. But yeah, that's basically what the counterculture is, right? I want people to be fit. I want them to be happy. I want them to be making money. I want them to do all that cool shit, dude. So that's it.
Nice.
All right. Sweet. With that, thank you guys so much for watching. If you're new here, subscribe. If you haven't liked the video, like it, because it helps the algorithm. And we'll talk to you guys on the next one. Logan, when do you want to do this again?
You tell me. I can make myself available if those times we talked about.
Yeah.
If Thursday works.
I think, do you want to do Tuesdays and Thursdays? Can you do that?
Same time?
Yeah.
I can make Tuesdays work, yeah.
Okay, cool. Tuesdays and Thursdays, guys. Tuesdays and Thursdays, we'll go live for at least an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours. Yeah, that's it. Thanks so much for watching. Peace out. Goodbye.